right, so I want to welcome you all to our webinar, A Beginner's Guide to Running Your First 2 Facebook Ads. Thank you so much for joining us today. When it comes to social media, you'll probably notice the landscape has changed over the past couple of years. And in many cases, you'll have to pay to reach people, and that's not a bad thing. Facebook ads are really a great way to find new customers, drive business, sell more, and even grow your email list. However, for many, the thought of actually running your first couple of Facebook ads can seem intimidating and expensive when you're not really sure what you're doing. We get it, and we don't want you to waste money, so we want to make sure that you're creating ads that get results, and that's what we want to do today in this webinar. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, there's all of these other social media tools and they also have ads, so why are we only focusing on Facebook ads today? Well, the truth is that Facebook is actually one of the easiest platforms to get started on. Facebook has such a large audience anyway that you can reach, and these ads are fairly cost effective, especially when you compare them to other forms of advertising such as Google. And that's why we've put together this webinar today. We're going to break down the steps that you're going to need to create your first 2 Facebook ads, and we're going to talk about some tips along the way that will help you to be successful. Now, the other thing that makes this even easier is that in Constant Contact, we have tools that we've created that have simplified the process, making it easier than ever for you to create and manage your own Facebook ads right in Constant Contact. In the end of today, you're going to be able to understand your metrics of what works and what didn't so that you can adjust your ads and put out more successful ads in the future. With all of that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda and see more specifically what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to start by talking about the 2 different types of ads we're going to suggest you start advertising with on Facebook. Then in a demo, we're going to dive into how to set everything up in Constant Contact. We're going to be walking you through setting up and connected the needed accounts. And then we'll talk about how to create those 2 types of ads in Constant Contact and how to design those ads to make sure they're running efficiently. So you'll have plenty of tips. Now, before we get into the details, allow me to more formally introduce myself. My name is Stephanie French, and I'm the content manager for webinars here at Constant Contact. And I'll be hosting today's conversation. And I'm very excited to be joined by Abby and Patrick. Patrick is actually the one behind the scenes running Constant Contact's Facebook ads. And Abby is part of the product team who's helped to put together the Facebook ads tool right in Constant Contact. Do you all want to just say a quick hello?
Sure, can do. Thank you for that intro. So I'm Patrick Galuli. As Stephanie said, I oversee the advertising for Constant Contact, but before Constant Contact, I worked with a variety of companies from Fortune 500s down to small theater companies running social media ads, particularly for all of them. So excited to give you some of my insights and hear your questions and answer them along the way.
And hi, everybody. My name is Abby Chapin. I'm the product manager here at Constant Contact for all of the social tools that you see in our product. And I'm happy to be here and walk you guys through our 2 ads products that we have for Facebook ads. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited that you're here to share your expertise in your unique areas. We're sure to help our audience create some successful ads today. So before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to run a poll. Rachel is helping me behind the scenes, so she's going to launch that on your screen. And the question for today's poll is, are you currently running Facebook ads? I'd really love to see who all's in the audience today and where you're at in your journey with Facebook ads. Maybe you haven't tried running Facebook ads at all. Maybe you want to, but you feel like you don't have the budget. Maybe you're already running ads, but you're not seeing success. Or maybe you're running Facebook ads and just want to learn more. Go ahead and fill out the answer to that question. We'd really love to get all of you participating today. So far, Patrick and Abby, we're seeing 53% of the audience hasn't tried running Facebook ads before. 20% say they're running Facebook ads, not seeing success. And then about another 20%, it's fluctuating right now, are saying they're running ads and just want to learn more. So we'll give everyone just another minute or so to provide their answer for us. And I see Paula says it looks like you're not running ads now. And Sally, it looks like you're not seeing ads, or you're running ads but not seeing success. So we've got 76% of you have voted, so that is awesome. Rachel, if you could go ahead and close that poll and we'll share the results and take a look at how the final numbers tallied out. So over half of you haven't tried running Facebook ads before, and that's usually about what we expect. 9% saying I want to but don't have the budget, 20% saying I'm running Facebook ads but not seeing results, and then 17% say I'm running Facebook ads and I just want to learn more. Was there anything from either of you two that kind of surprises you about those results?
I think those are right in line with what we'd expect. I think for even the small sliver of people who say they don't have the budget to get started, I think we'll have some tips on how it can be a bit more effective and efficient than you think, and you don't have to be intimidated by the cost right off the bat. But good to see, and I think we'll have some great stuff for everybody.
Definitely, and it's good to see that we've also got some people who are already trying them out. So that is awesome. So let's start by talking about the two different kinds of ads we're going to suggest for creating for Facebook. Now, as a consumer, you're likely already familiar with seeing ads in your Facebook newsfeed. You see them, and so you know they work. They're a great way to get your brand in front of more users on Facebook. In fact, we know that probably several hundred of you actually signed up for today's webinar from a Facebook lead ad that Patrick ran. Yay, Patrick! Now, Patrick, could you talk a little bit more about this from the consumer side? How do ads show up in the newsfeed, and how do we know they are ads?
Surprise, you've already used the product we're going to talk about, so this is exciting. Yeah, so feed ads and in particular lead ads and click ads that we're going to talk about today, you've probably seen them when you use Facebook, and most people are using Facebook every day. The beauty of both these types of ads is that they're designed to be inconspicuous. They're designed to be part of the rest of the content that you're seeing in your news feed. So they look like the other pieces of content, they flow right in there, and you're really encouraged with the right content and creative to click on them. There is a vast ecosystem, though, beyond what's called that newsfeed. Things including the right-hand side, where on this image you see sponsored, constantcontact.com. That's an ad unit. Additionally, there's something called the audience network, which brings the ads you build in Facebook to apps across the web, like NewYorkTimes.com. So you can spend a couple bucks a day and end up in somebody's New York Times app. So there's a lot of ways that Facebook powers getting your message in front of people, but predominantly you see it on mobile devices in this newsfeed view.
Awesome. So yeah, definitely great because you're going to catch people no matter where they're viewing it at. Now, often we find that there's some questions about boosting a post versus creating an ad. Can you talk about the differences and if one of them is actually better than the other?
Sure, they both have pros and cons. So boosting, traditionally, if you have a Facebook page already, you probably got prompted by Facebook at various times when you've made a post, what we would call organically. You just put it out on your page. They say, boost this post, right? Give us a couple bucks and we'll send it to X number of people. So that's boosting. It's very basic, very rudimentary, just gets additional reach and has limitations in terms of what targeting you can do. Building an ad is, the full kit and caboodle. You have a lot of power, a lot of flexibility to whom you target, how you target, the types of creative, different ad units you can use. That's predominantly done through Facebook's advertising manager or business manager. What we at Constant Contact have done is kind of met in the middle, giving you some of the power of ads manager and the ease of use of boosting a post so that you can really take advantage of both sides without having to be necessarily an ads expert.
Definitely. So what I'm hearing from you is an ad really just gives you more power and more flexibility and more features to do all of that targeting and really great things. Now, in a few minutes, we're going to be talking about the cost to actually run an ad, and there's some variables that are going to come into play. But in general, if someone is just getting started, like most of our audience from that poll, how much should they budget in order to get started advertising on Facebook?
So you can get started literally with $1 a day. That's the minimum. So there isn't some type of high threshold bar just to get going. That being said, we recommend most people who are just starting out to come with at least $100 budget. And that $100 can be spread over a decent amount of time. I would say at least 2 weeks usually, up to say 6 weeks. And Abby will talk a little bit more about how all that works in terms of scheduling and timing. But $100 is the right place to start to get a read on your activity within Facebook. And it's kind of the threshold I would start with.
Great. And you know, it is going to depend on industry, and we'll see that here in just a moment. But for most of you, you could get away with at least $100 to at least start testing into that. So some great information there. So there are the two types of ads that you might want to run on Facebook. There's lead ads, which a lot of you actually got to this webinar from a lead ad on Facebook, and then there's click ads. So let's start with a lead ad. What is a lead ad, and why would you want to run one?
Sure. So a lead ad, for those of you who haven't experienced it already coming to this webinar, it looks just like a regular ad on Facebook. Both lead ads and click ads look very similar to the consumer. But when you click on a lead ad as a consumer, you get taken into a lead form that's within Facebook's app. So you're not going off Facebook, you're not being taken to an external website. You're being asked to fill out all of this information here. It's really aligned to getting contact information from somebody. So if you want to get that contact information and reuse it over time, which is definitely a best practice that we would recommend everybody do. You know, own your audience is what we would say. A lead ad is going to be for you. And the beauty of a lead ad as well, Facebook knows maybe too much about us because we've either given it a lot of information or it has understood the information of the users that it has. So when someone goes to fill out this lead form, a lot of those fields are pre-populated. So it's a really low touch way for somebody to give you their contact information. Usually they click on the ad, all of this information, my email, first name, last name, whatever fields you ask for that Facebook has on you already are pre-populated. You just hit submit, and then you as the business user gets that information to use.
Thank you. And all of that with email, when you start using a lead ad, you know, obviously when you create it in Constant Contact, it's automatically going to sync, and you're going to be able to start using email in order to communicate with them. And it really has some long-term effects so that you can build a relationship over time and, you know, build loyalty by communicating with them via email. So when you are using a lead ad, you know, we want to make sure that you have a plan in place or something in your mind on what you're going to send them next. In most cases, we're going to suggest that you automate at least one message so that you can welcome them to your business. On your lead ad, you're going to want to offer something of value in exchange for their email address, something that's going to entice them to want to give you that valuable information. So in that automated email, you want to fulfill on that offer right away and just follow up with that. Now, on the other side of that is what's called a click ad. What's the purpose of this type of ad?
The key differentiator here is that it does take you off of Facebook, right? So it's about taking somebody who's on Facebook and bringing them to your website or even your mobile app or somewhere else that you want to send them. Like I've seen people who have press hits send somebody to like entrepreneur.com to show somebody their press article that they got for their business. So that's really the key differentiator. You can do a lot of the same things, right? You can have a click ad that clicks to a landing page, and on that landing page, you can have the lead form and still get leads and get contact information through using a click ad. But generally, it's a better practice if you want to use it for something like getting somebody to buy in the moment, or, and this is kind of getting to more advanced functionality, but using it for what's called retargeting. So you get somebody to your site, you know they've been to the site. You can later hit them again with another message to say, well, we know you've been here already. Did you want to buy that product? Do you want to come back? Do you want to learn a little bit more about us? So its primary goal, again, is just getting that traffic from Facebook to your site.
Definitely, and that has the click ad has a more immediate effect on your end business goals, like increasing your sales and driving that traffic and things like that. So really two distinct purposes on why you might want to use each of these ads, which is great. So let's get back to this question. Well, how much does it really cost to run an ad? And like Patrick said, it's going to depend on industry, but there are also a variety of other factors that we'll have Patrick talk about in a minute. Now here at Constant Contact, we've done some analysis on the results that our customers are generating with our Facebook ads tool. We've done it for lead ads, and then we'll be looking at click ads in just a moment. So for lead ads, if we look at the general bucket of customers who are using the lead ads tool, on average, they're generating 85 leads per ad at a cost of $1.44 per lead. And then for retail, we're seeing they're generating on average 198 leads at 84 cents per lead. And then for real estate, this one looks a little bit different just based on the industry. Like we've been saying, they generate an average of 22 leads per ad at an average cost of $2.65 per lead. And then nonprofit customers, we do see nonprofits who are using the lead ads tool as well. They generate on average 59 leads per ad at an average cost of $1.30. Now, Patrick, can you provide a little bit more information on the cost for lead ads and really what to expect? Because obviously this is going to vary based on all of those different factors.
Yeah, that's the key right there. So many different levers you can pull to change the performance of your ad, be it the creative, the messaging, the targeting that you're putting into market, the offer, the value, what's the payoff for the consumer who's going to give you their lead. I've seen lead ads generate, email addresses for a few cents. For some industries, like real estate's a really good one, right? You can imagine this $2.65 lead here might be somebody who is running a campaign to try to get people who want to buy houses, right? Everybody wants to buy a house right now. So people are going to give your information up really easily because they're desperate to find houses. If your lead ad was to try and find people selling houses, that might be a lot more expensive because there's just less, out there to find. So it can run the gamut. In some industries, I've even seen it in the hundreds, and that sounds scary to the average person, but for some industries, $100 lead might be really valuable. If you sell a car and it's $50,000, a couple $200 leads might not be the worst thing in the world.
That's a good way to put it based on what the end result is of what you're selling versus if you're selling something that's maybe 20 bucks. So great information. Let's look at the other side of that, which is the people who are using our click ads. So in the general bucket of customers, these people generated 510 clicks on average at an average cost of 15 cents per click. For retail customers, they generated on average 596 clicks at a cost of 14 cents per click. And then real estate, they generated 324 clicks at 16 cents per click. And then nonprofit customers who use the click ads tool in Constant Contact, they generated about 425 clicks at an average cost of 18 cents per click. Now, could you talk about a little bit more about the ranges for click ads based on your experience and what they should be expecting?
These are really healthy numbers. Again, clicks can range wildly by industry or by activity. I realize, I know not to jump back, but one thing I did want to say on the lead ads front as well, another lever you can pull is how many questions you ask in that lead ad. If you ask somebody just for email address or you have 11 questions, you can see how that's going to affect the volume of the leads that you're bringing in. But back to click ads, $1 is a really healthy benchmark. Like $1 per click is kind of where you should be under naturally. If you're paying for more than $1 per click, or $1 to $2, I would say, then you really want to investigate why that's the case, right? Is your targeting off? Is your messaging off? Is your creative off? What's causing that? These numbers are really, really good. Like to be under 50 cents is fantastic. And that is, again, pulling all those levers that you can find to get to the right balance, and then making sure that traffic is good. You want to make sure that the traffic that is coming in the door isn't just getting there, but it's actually doing something for you as well.
Awesome. Is there anything else that we should keep in mind that will have an effect on the cost per click that you want to mention?
It's really the audience size, I would say. And so that's the question I get a lot, right? What's the exact audience size? I think we're talking about it a little bit later too. There's no one golden answer to that either, but you want to make sure you have a big enough audience. I'd say generally a few thousand people within your audience pool as a bare minimum, and go up as high as you can. One thing too about lead ads and click ads, Facebook knows which of its users have a propensity to click and which have a propensity to fill out leads and which have a propensity to buy online. Those are kind of Venn diagram circles. Not everybody sits in all of them, but some people sit in multiple buckets. And so, Facebook's going to serve your ad up to, even if you give them a 2 million pool of 2 million people, they're going to serve it up to the people in that 2 million pool who are most likely to click and who have clicked. And as more clicks come in, it's going to find more people like that. And so it keeps getting better and better as more data is generated within your ad.
Awesome. That's really good information to know about, especially the audience size affecting that cost. Now, as always with anything in marketing, it's really beneficial to at least sit down and spend some time planning out your ads and your goals so that you can determine what type of ad you want to run and any creative or anything so that you can make sure you're reaching the end result. So what are some of the most important things we want to make sure we have in place or even think about before creating an ad?
So operationally, there's these key things right up at the front. You have to have an established Facebook page. If you don't have one, go create one. And to be honest, even if you aren't going to run ads, you probably have a Facebook page because there's huge benefits from SEO, for your website, from being discoverable, just so people can actually find your business, being highly ranked when people search for your brand name. So you need to go have that Facebook page built. Then there has to be an admin on that page. It might be you, it might be somebody you work with, but if whoever's running the ads, whoever's in fact setting up the connection within Constant Contact, has to be an admin on that Facebook page that you want to run. And then you're going to need a working payment method. And there's a variety of different payment methods you can use, but you set this up with Facebook. You do not pay Constant Contact when you use our tools. You buy your ads from Facebook. There's no additional cost to use Constant Contact for the tools we provide. All of that happens between you and Facebook.
Awesome. Now we've talked a little bit about creative or exchanging information. So basically catching their attention and get them to click or fill out the form for your lead ad. So Brooke asked while registering for the webinar, how do you choose the most important content for a Facebook ad?
I honestly think this is the time, some of the stuff you spend the most time on. You don't want to just, go into your first Facebook ad being like, let me poke around in here and like just throw together a couple sentences and stock images and, throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. You really need to come in saying, I want to drive traffic. I want to grow my list. I want to get more leads. Once you know that, then you want to pick the right ad when you're getting ready to build it out, and then create all the content that you're going to need. And Abby's going to show you the different pieces of content that are required to get the ad started. But you want to make sure you understand what is that value proposition that you want to offer to somebody, right? Somebody's not just going to give you their email address because you asked them nicely. You have to have a reason for them to want to give it to you. Someone's not going to just click on your ad and come to your website because your ad is there. So making sure you know what the value your business is providing, and then some creative elements alongside of it. So like a really good image. This is where people always tell me they get stopped. They're like, I'm not creative. I don't know how to make artwork. There's a variety of tools like Canva and other tools out there that can help you make great artwork. There's also a variety of free, royalty-free stock websites, Unsplash being one of them, and then the library within Constant Contact as well that you can use to pull great imagery and make great ads, and you don't have to have a designer.
And Canva integrates right within your Constant Contact account. Abby can probably point it out when she's going through the process there. Now, something we've seen, so Patrick, I know you did some analysis of those stats we were just looking at for Constant Contact customers. We've seen some people have really great success by running ads that feature a giveaway for their business. Can you talk a little bit more about how they were running those ads, were those lead ads, and why those seem to be so successful?
Yeah, I believe my joke to you, Steph, was that people are willing to give up their firstborn for something that is like free but would have cost them $10. Yeah, that's exactly what we saw. Some of the lowest cost per lead trials that our customers have seen, and I've heard this from other of my peers who have run similar ads, are ones that invoke a giveaway, right? Just give me your email address and you're in the running for one of 3 free X from your business, or a discount of some kind is also a very popular way to get them in. Now that can affect the quality, right? Somebody who wants something free might not be a person who's going to purchase, but if you have a higher volume of people who are less interested overall versus a lower volume of very high interested people, there's value to both of those two buckets. So it's okay to get a lot of leads that you can later convert by using email marketing in particular off of things like giveaway.
Awesome. Now, I want to note that we've got a checklist that we put together to go along with today's webinar, and especially the parts that Abby is going to show us here in a couple of minutes. So Rachel just shared a link to that in the chat window. You can download that for later. If you don't catch it now, we will be sending it out in the follow-up email as well. So no worries there. So at this point, we're going to move on and we're going to show you how to create ads in Constant Contact. Before we do this, I know I've seen at least one question from Renee, and maybe there's a few other that have come in, Abby. Can you talk a little bit more about the benefits of running an ad through Constant Contact and why someone would want to do that versus just going directly to Facebook?
Sure. So for lead ads in particular, the content, the form data that is within the lead ad itself on Facebook, all of that data gets synced into Constant Contact. So it creates a list automatically, and that data itself gets input right into Constant Contact. And one of the great things is about that is that you can immediately retarget that person that signs up with an email instantaneously. So that's one of the great things about lead ads. And for click ads too, we absolutely simplify the process. We've heard from a lot of our customers that Facebook Ads Manager is really complicated and they have a hard time setting up an ad. So what we've done is we've simplified that process dramatically, so that it's easier for you to get up and running faster. And also just it's one place to manage all of your marketing efforts. You've got your email marketing and you've got your Facebook ads marketing as well. We also have social media tools beyond that that also help.
Awesome. Yeah, I have tried doing it through Facebook, through the regular stuff, and it is, holy cow, I've never done it before, so it is not for me. So when I go in and create it in Constant Contact, I can figure out exactly what I'm doing. Now, the majority.
I will say that I have to add on to that because I do spend all day, every day in Facebook Ads Manager, and I can tell you I also hate it. And it's just there's a lot there, and a lot is changing in that world. So anything you can do to simplify what is obviously a very complex tool, we were excited to be able to do that as a company for our customers.
Definitely, that's a great point, Patrick, especially knowing where you come from with your daily role. Now, we know that over half of you are going to likely need to create an ad account, and that's going to be essential for running your ads and processing your payments and all of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to launch a short video that's going to show you exactly how that's done. I'll send it out in the follow-up email later, so if you're not following step by step or you don't catch all of the notes, that's okay. And then later, we're going to have Abby walk us through the live design process. So let me get this running. Hi everyone, this is Stephanie. If you've never created a Facebook ad before, you're going to need to create an ad account in order to get everything set up, and that's what I'm going to walk you through in this video. From the Home tab or the Campaigns tab in your account, you're going to click Create at the top of your page. And then from the Campaign menu, you're going to choose Ads. You're going to choose the type of ad you want to start with. I'm going to choose Facebook and Instagram. Next, I need to click to connect my Facebook account. I'm already logged in my browser, so I'm just going to add my password and click Continue. Now, I've never done this before, so I see the button to create an ad account. From this, it's going to open the Business Manager. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to go down to the left-hand side and click More Tools. And I'm going to click Ads Manager at the top of the page. I'm going to look at their anti-discrimination policy, so I want to review the information. Now, there are some special rules for U.S. housing, employment, and credit advertisers, so you can review that information here. Just make sure you click Accept when you're ready. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click Done. Now, if I go back to Constant Contact, most of you are probably just going to need to refresh your page, so I'm going to do that right here. And now I'm going to need to add my payment information, so I'll click the blue button there. Give it a minute to load up, and now I need to just click Add Payment Method right there on the top. Now I need to choose my country, the currency, and also my time zone. I'm just going to go ahead and review that and click Save. Now I need to add all of my information. I can add business and tax information at the top, or choose from credit card, PayPal, or banking information. For me, I'm going to go ahead and set it up with PayPal. And now I've already logged in my browser before, so it remembers that, and it's going to show me my banking information. I'll scroll to the bottom and just click Agree. Now I'm going to add my business name and my address for my business, city, state, and zip code, and all of that. And when I'm done, I will go ahead and click Save. Now this is reviewing my information that I just added, which is great. I'll click Close. I'm going to click Save. And now I can give my ad that I'm going to create a name. So I'm just going to put in Test here and click Save. And now I'm able to design my ad. All right, so those are the very beginning pieces that you'll need for those of you who answered that you've never run an ad before. So I'm going to hand the controls over to Abby, and she's going to take us through the whole process right there so that we can see how to design our ad. Perfect. We see you now, Abby.
Great, thank you. Okay, so here we are on the home page of Constant Contact within Constant Contact, and if you see here, there's the universal create button. We're first going to create. You can see that you click on ads. We're first going to create a click ad, so that would be a Facebook and Instagram ad up top. You will see the account settings that Stephanie just walked us through. I'm already connected, so I just need to select which account I want to use. We have multiple account support here, so and you can see that in the drop downs. And then once you've connected your ad account and your payment settings, it automatically updates and connects. So it's pretty easy, and you can just see by the green check boxes that everything is all set, and you can move forward with creating your ad. So I'm just going to type in test ad and then choose save. And now you'll see here that this is the main design section of creating your click ad. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the social pages that I want it to run on, or that I want it to run on behalf of. So I'm going to choose, we're going to choose a date night dinners for two, which is a page, a business page that I've created behind the scenes. So the ad will run, also the ad will run on behalf of the date night dinners for two. And then you'll see here that you can also, even if you don't have a connected Instagram account or an associated Instagram business account, you can still run your ad on Instagram using your Facebook page info. So I'm going to select that as well. Or you can just choose to not run on Instagram if you'd like. Or if you do have an Instagram business page, you will also see that there as well. So choose save, and you can see that I got the green checkbox. That means I'm all set with selecting my social pages. Next is the fun part, is designing your ad. I'm going to go in here, and we are first going to choose a description. So I'm going to paste in the description here, and we can talk about the description itself and what makes a good description. You want to write to your specific audience. You want to focus on the main thing that you want them to know. You want to speak to them directly, and also exclamation points and dashes have been shown to increase engagement. So that's what we have there. And then you'll see that, you know, if your ad contains political content, we do have a checkbox here that you would check off to say that. Just want to mention that there. Here you can choose your image. So your image will open up my library. We were talking about before that we do have the Create in Canva button. So if you choose this button, it will open up a Canva instance. You can authenticate with your Canva account and create an image within Canva, and it will save directly to your My Library account, and then you can upload it to the ad itself. So I'm going to choose this image here and choose Insert. And for imagery, we want to make sure that you choose something that like tells a story. And for here, like it's food. I mean, this looks great. It's making me hungry now. You want to avoid landscape imagery. And I don't know, Patrick, if you have any more insight on that, but otherwise, I'll keep going. We are going to add a headline. So my next one is the headline. You want to make sure that with your headline that the character limit is 25 characters. Keep that headline short and sweet so it doesn't overflow into your action button here. The next thing you want to do is add a URL. I have it pre-saved in here. Date night dinners for two. And you can see there that this URL is truncated with ellipses. So what we've done here too is that you can edit the URL that you have so that it just takes off the www in the beginning, so that or anything that you want to display there for that matter, and that so it takes away, so it leaves more room for that learn more button to be prominently displayed. The next thing I'm going to choose is get offer, because we are offering a reduced price for our date night. So scroll down here and you can see that we have lots of choices for your click-through action for that button. So you can pick one that suits you. And then that's it for here. You can see that the preview, as you fill this out, the preview on the right-hand side also fills out. And this is what your ad will look like when you view it on Facebook or Instagram. I'm going to choose save. And then the next part is actually selecting your audience. So this is who you want the ad to be shown to. Now, one of the first things that we ask you is if your ad is about housing or credit or employment, you need to actually tell Facebook if that is the case. If not, if it's not part of that, then you would choose none. In terms of the audience type, we have two audience types that you can choose from. You can create a new custom audience, which is what I'm going to do, or you can create a lookalike audience. What is a lookalike audience? Basically what that is and what we offer through Constant Contact is the ability to upload a list of your contacts, so email addresses from your Constant Contact account into Facebook, and they will create an audience that looks like your contact list, and you can target the ad to those people. For this purpose of this demo, I'm going to create a custom audience and show you the power of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just select, all genders, because I want this ad to be displayed to both male and female. And I'm going to choose ages 18 to 65. Keep it really simple. You just select your country, so whatever country that you reside in that you want this, or not that you reside in, but that you want the ad to be shown to or in, select that country. And then you'll see here that we offer city, state, or zip code targeting. So if I was to type in a city or a state, it would find it in the dropdown and you could select that. I'm not going to select it here. But then we offer interest targeting. And so for interest targeting, I'm going to choose, write in things like, I'm going to choose dating, and you'll see that we ping Facebook and we ask them about if that interest is available. If it's not available, if they don't, let you target off of that, it will not appear in the dropdown. But you'll see here that dating does appear. I'm going to add another one, let's say family. Let's say food.
Hey, Patrick, while she's going through and adding in some interest, could you talk a little bit more about what advice you have or tips for targeting the right audience?
Sure. So for this example, right, this is obviously a company that is selling kind of a meal kit or some type of dinner to go. Maybe it's shippable, maybe it's not. So the kind of things you could do to cut this audience down, which I have typing some things in right now, but I think it was at like 170 million. That's far too large for a business like this, right? So you can do two things. One is you can add these and exclusions under narrow further and find things that would make the audience smaller. So Blue Apron, right? They're a meal kit, so that's one way that you can cut it smaller. Within this bucket, there are ors for each line. So if you were to say like Bumble, right, the dating app Bumble, you could put that in as well, either as a narrow further or as an inclusion at on the first level. You want to keep testing and learning and seeing first off what type of what is targetable within the Facebook ecosystem. Like you'll just type in, and if it's not there, you'll go on to the next thing. Think about competitors. Think about kind of off. I think parenting was one we had talked about in the past too. Like I know I have 2 young kids. I would love a meal kit for $50. So parenting is an interest that might relate to the offer you have, but not be something like top of mind as you're thinking through like somebody just likes food. I just want to target people who like food. There are other types of interests that could really work to your advantage. And then geo-targeting is also key if you want to make it smaller, or you have, your business has to get foot traffic in the door. You could target by city, state, zip code to make your audience tighter and tighter. And you do want to get to that sweet spot of, if you're geo-targeted to a few miles of your business, you want to be at the 10,000 range, not the 2 million range necessarily.
Great.
That makes a lot of sense.
All right, so I'm going to save this. And you can see I added Massachusetts as for state targeting. And I did both an excludes down here. So I'm excluding Bumble, and I'm looking for interest. So anyone that's in dating or family or food or marriage and also is interested in Blue Apron. So that cuts down on my estimated reach, and hopefully that will target the right people that I'm looking for. Choose save. And you'll see that my selected audience, I got a green checkbox, so everything is good there. I'm ready to move forward. Next, we go on to budget and schedule. Like we said earlier, we do recommend $100 for your total budget. I know that there was a question that came through around, we're talking about $100 a day, or are we talking about a total budget? We were talking about a total budget of $100 to start. You can see here that for ad duration, we have recommended, we put in a recommended, selection of 1 week or 2 weeks, but you also have that custom tool or model where you can put in any start date or end date that you want. For the purposes of this, I'm going to choose 3 weeks. And what it does here is it breaks down your $100 over the course of 3 weeks. So what you can expect to see when we do go through the reporting is you can expect to see that this ad will spend around $4.76 a day. What's great about with Constant Contact is that we have made it really easy for you to run this ad. So that you can be rest assured that this ad will run pretty much evenly through that entire 3-week duration. It won't just blow through that budget on that first day. We make sure that spend is being spent evenly throughout that time, so that you have time to look at the data, make adjustments if you need to, and keep running that ad to get better results. So I'm going to choose save, and that's the last thing you need to do to finish out the creation of your ad. The last step is publishing the ad. I just want to let you guys know too that before you publish and anything like that, this has all been saved in Constant Contact. So if I'm not ready to publish the ad right now, I don't need to. I can go do other things and then come back and publish when I'm ready. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to publish the ad, and I'm not going to actually publish it because I don't want to run it for real. But what you'll see here is that you get a synopsis of how your ad is going to run, where it's going to run. You'll see that it's going to run on both Facebook and Instagram. And my page is going to run on behalf of this date night dinners for 2. You'll see my targeted audience, like all genders and ages and locations, and the interest targeting, inclusions and exclusions, and the total budget and the ad duration. I'm going to choose cancel here. So that's it for the Facebook click ad. We're going to get right into the lead ad. So I'm going to go back to campaigns, the main dashboard, choose create. And there are a lot of very similar criteria that we ask you to input. So I'm going to go fast through some of them so we have time for questions. So I'm going to select my ad account. All my settings have been automatically filled in. Choose test again. Hit save. And then you'll see here, same thing as the click ad. I just need to make sure that I select the social page that I want it to run on behalf of. This time I'm not going to choose that it runs on Instagram. Choose save. And this is where the lead ad differs from the click ad, and we need to talk about that. So for a lead ad, there's basically 2 screens for the user that they're going to see. They're going to see the lead ad itself, so it's going to be the imagery that entices them to sign up, and whatever text that you put in, and the headline. But then behind the scenes, once they choose that button, there's going to be a lead form behind that. So when they click something like sign up, they're going to be taken to the lead form to enter the data that you're requesting of them. So the first thing that we're going to fill out is the actual ad content itself. So I'm going to quickly enter in a description, and we do say for lead ads, we said earlier, offer them something so that they'll be more apt to give you their information. So we're going to do offering them 15% off of their meal kit. And we're going to add an image. We're going to add a headline. Remember to keep it short and sweet. And then your button. So what button you're going to choose. So this is a sign up. So we're going to choose sign up. Choose save there. Go back in. And then the next part is the lead form itself. So I'm going to click on lead form. And if you click on the lead form on the left-hand side, you can decide these are all of the fields that we support in Constant Contact. We can offer, any of these fields you can ask of the user, and they will get uploaded into Constant Contact if the user does enter those fields. So we're going to choose, for this purpose, we're going to choose first name and last name, and that'll be it. And So we've got that. So we entered our lead form information. And the last piece of information that you guys need to know is that you need to put in the website URL of where it's going. So after the user enters their information, there is an opportunity for you to send them off to your website, which is great. So it's, little double dipping there, which is awesome. And the next piece that is very important to know is that you need to make sure that if you're collecting customer information, you will need to include a link to your company's privacy policy. That link will appear with Facebook's default policy claimer within the ad itself. If you need help creating your own privacy policy, you can Google search a way to automatically create one for you. I think Stephanie has a little bit more information on that, but it's just really important that you need to make sure that you have a privacy policy, or the ad will get rejected by Facebook.
Yeah, and we have Rachel behind the scenes. She has a link that she'll share in the chat window of Facebook's policies and a little bit about their review process, which does take 24 hours or as much as 24 hours to review the ad before it will go live. So definitely something to keep in mind there.
Yes. So for this purpose of this, I'm going to choose a custom. I'm going to create a new audience. I'm going to do some of the same criteria that I had before. And maybe I don't want Blue Apron people this time. Choose save. And then again, with my budget and schedule, this time maybe we'll do the ad duration for 1 month at $100. Choose save. And that's all you have. So one thing I wanted to mention is that for your lead ad, what we do behind the scenes while you're building this lead ad is that we automatically create a list within your Constant Contact account called Facebook Lead Ads. And that list is automatically created, so when people do fill out that form, that the information gets pushed right to Constant Contact. So you don't even have to worry about creating a list. It's done automatically for you behind the scenes. I'm going to choose Publish, and then you can see here is all the information that you need to know about your ad. Cancel out of that.
All right. Thanks, Abby. So I want to make sure we cover 1 or 2 more things, and then we get to all these questions. I think we have hundreds of questions that are coming in. So once you start running your ad and people start seeing it, you're going to start seeing some results. So you're going to want to take a look and make sure you understand a little bit about what you're seeing here and what your costs are and things like that. So this is some information for a lead ad. Patrick, what are some of the stats we're seeing here, and what are the most important things to pay attention to? Patrick, you're on mute, I think.
The best part is it pops up and tells you you're on mute and blocks the unmute button, which is very helpful. So sorry, folks. Small technical difficulties in the grand scheme of things. So this is the lead ad data. So leads is obviously what we would call a key performance indicator. How many leads did you actually get from this ad? Then the cost per lead. So what is the amount you spend divided by the number of leads you got? Leads and contacts are equivalent, right? Because as Abby just said, we take those leads and from Constant Contact, we put them into a list for you so you can start emailing those people right away. Again, getting back to this idea of owning your audience. I think I saw one question already that was about, if you want to grow your list, which one should you use? Always use lead ad. Just definitely use lead ad. It's going to be so easy to get information from a user using a lead ad versus trying to get them to your website to sign up and use your sign up form and take all those extra steps that are just going to make it harder. It's going to be more expensive. You're going to get fewer conversions. And again, we've built this whole pipeline so they never leave Facebook, but you get their data. It's a beautiful system. Impressions are here, very important. You want to make sure you're reaching enough people. I saw some additional questions. One, I think, is tied here to say, like, should you spend $5 a day for 20 days or $10 a day for 10 days, which reaches more people? The reality is, on average, you'd reach around the same amount of people. So for a click ad, the cost to reach a 1,000 people, or to cost to get 1,000 impressions could be like $5 to $10. So if you're spending $5 a day, maybe you're reaching 1,000 people a day. If you're spending $10 a day, you're probably reaching $10,000 a day. I did my math right. There's not a huge amount. There's been a couple of questions of people saying, like, if you do this, does Facebook dock you? If you do this, does Facebook make it, your reach less? And the only things that really impact who you reach is your target, how often they're actually on Facebook's apps and things like that. So if it's a group of people who just don't use Facebook very often, they can be more expensive. How big your audience is. Those are the key things that affect your reach. There's competition and some other things behind the scenes, but those are a little bit more advanced. But impressions here is an important indicator that you are reaching people, but is not a key indicator for a lead ad. I'd say if you have a huge amount of impressions and no leads, you got to make some adjustments, like figure out why that is. If you have a few impressions and a lot of leads, then you might have hit the gold mine, and you should probably put more money behind it.
Awesome. Let's look at the click ad, because those results look a little bit different, but we do see some similar things here. Can you walk us through that?
Yep. So this is all the clicks that you're generating from it. This is Facebook clicks. So you obviously want to make sure when somebody clicks, sometimes they don't fully load the site. So if you use Google Analytics or another tool to see who's coming to your website, those numbers might not ever match up perfectly. But you want them to be pretty close, obviously. Then your click-through rate, that's just taking clicks divided by total impressions. And so this is a very healthy rate for this. To see in some digital marketing efforts, to see 0.05% click-through rate is actually good. So to see 4% means you're doing something right. You've got the right creative, you're enticing people to actually click on the ad, or you've got the right audience, they're interested in what you're offering, or both, right? So those are the two levers you can really push on to make your click-through rate go higher. And cost per click, as I said, $1 to $2 is good. If you're 55 cents, you're doing pretty well there.
Awesome. Now, the other side of this is you're also going to be able to see your audience reporting. Can you tell us a little bit more about what this means and how we might use this to better our ads?
Yep. So first and foremost, it should always match your targeting criteria, right? So this ad here obviously was targeting just Massachusetts. If it wasn't targeting just Massachusetts, you'd want to understand why only people in Massachusetts were seeing the ad. So that's number one. But if you had a wide demographic, so say your audience was all of the United States, this kind of data is really helpful as you come in to say, like, wow, we're reaching a few people in New York State, but a ton of them are giving us their lead information. Maybe we should put more money and just target New York instead. Maybe there's something there we can capitalize on. So using this type of demographic or reach data or efficiency data is really key to just understand, like, are there places where you're seeing success, and then you can scale that success up by bypassing, Facebook's algorithm doing that work for you.
All right, good to know. Before we get to all of these great questions that are coming in, I just want to take a few minutes to just recap a few things. Of course, we make it easy for you to create ads in Constant Contact. We've really just streamlined and simplified the process if you've never done it before. Remember, there are those two different kinds of ads. There's the lead ad, getting people on your email list for a longer term strategy and communicating with them over time. And then there's click ads that are going to drive those more immediate results, like getting traffic to your site or just getting sales. And then don't forget to keep an eye on your stats as your ads are running, and then also pay attention to afterwards, because you can always use that data, like Patrick was saying, to inform your ad decisions. Maybe something doesn't look right with your targeting. Maybe you should go in and tweak that a little bit and maybe try some different interests or try a location to better reach the right people for your business. All right, so if you don't already have an account, you can sign up for a free trial of Constant Contact. And by the way, in your free trial, you can start and run a lead ad from your trial account. So I know we've got probably over 100 questions by now, so let's try to get through as many of these as we can. So I know Sarah emailed me before this. She says, I have done ads in the past pre-pandemic, but now everything seems to have changed. I tried to run an ad yesterday and I was told that my pixel was no longer running due to needing to register my domain with Apple.
We are all hitting these lovely challenges with changes to Apple's privacy policies, as well as state law changes around privacy. So what I'd say, Sarah, for your specific example, this is a little bit more like a 201 Facebook session, but I know there's been a couple questions about Apple privacy. So long story short, Apple has made it, as consumers, you probably, if you have an iPhone, you've seen this happen. You've gone to an app, you've opened it up, the app says, do you want to allow this app to track you? And you say yes or no. 96% of people who have iPhones say no. So they stop allowing advertisers to track in their app. So that's what's happening to Facebook. What Facebook did to solve for this was make it that you just have to have a registered domain. So Sarah, I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter, or you can email me afterwards. I'd be happy to help you with this specific question. But what you have to do is make sure that Facebook knows that you own the domain you're trying to send traffic to. And then you have to do something around some work that's called aggregated web events. Once you set those up, you'll be good to go. That is something that some other people may encounter too. So we'll see if we can find a resource for that too, and maybe send it out in the follow-up email.
Awesome. Good to know there. Michelle says, I'm getting a lot of scam messages in Messenger after boosting a post. What am I doing wrong?
Interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna, so you, if I followed along, you boosted it maybe within Facebook's interface. You know, listen, Facebook's a little bit of a black box. So there's a lot of questions where people say, someone said, I have a small Facebook audience. Does that affect my ads running? The short answer is no. The long answer is like, who knows, right? Facebook really controls it. And there's one thing I want you to take away from this whole thing. It's that stop renting real estate from Facebook. When you buy ads over and over again that are just click ads, you're sending traffic consistently to Facebook, you have to keep renting that audience. If you use lead ads, you get their email address, then you can email them over and over and over again, and you don't have to pay Facebook every time when you want to go out and reach those people. So for the specific questions there are not, if you're receiving scam messages on Messenger, it doesn't sound like you're running ads within Messenger based on what I said, but if you boosted it, they're just trying to get you the biggest reach for the smallest amount of dollars when you use the boost functionality. And so sometimes you get, not so great people who end up seeing your ad because Facebook's just trying to optimize for getting those impressions. And when you optimize for impressions versus clicks or versus leads, which is what the constant contact tools do, you do see a little bit more spamminess come through.
So it sounds like maybe the recommendation there is go for an ad over boosting a post to maybe minimize that, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it right up front, but the reality is, like, if you're boosting if you're using Facebook's boost functionality, stop doing it.
Awesome. Great. And to the point there. Now, Bill asks, Facebook ads are different than boosting a post, correct?
Correct.
Maybe
yes.
you could go over that again?
Yeah, Facebook, I'll summarize it this way. Facebook knows there's a lot of money to be made, right, by small business owners who want to run ads on Facebook. They realize Ads Manager is very intense. I said, I'm a practitioner. I'm in Facebook ads. I was in it while we were talking, secretly doing some work behind the scenes. It is not an intuitive tool, even for an experienced practitioner. Boosting was their way of saying, like, hey, here's an easy way for you to start running ads. Look, you can get traffic. Look, you can get clicks. Look, you can get impressions. Aren't you, happy to see that? It's never been a great functionality for that. That's why people like Constant Contact have tried to build tools layered on top of Facebook's ad manager instead that replicate the easiness of it, but don't take away the functionality and some of the flexibility you get in making your own tweaks to make it so you're getting better and better people seeing your ads.
Awesome. Good point. Now, Don asks, when I see an unsolicited ad that takes up a huge amount of space on the page, I always opt out. Is there a way to not be seen as obtrusive? That's a good question.
It's a really good question. And I think that's such a great mindset to have going into building ads. Like we said up front, spend most of your time thinking about what your ad is going to look like. Just as we would say, you don't spam your email list with 10 emails a day, don't have a very small audience for a Facebook ad that sees your ad 50 times and the message never changes and it was never good for them to begin with. It's the same as true of a lot of digital marketing. Spend a lot of time up front to feel like you're adding that value, right? 15% off, a free giveaway, like something of value to the user. So you're having a relationship instead of just being like, click here now, right? And that's what's going to cause you to block some.
Awesome. So I want to address a question from Tara because I think I saw it from a few other people, but it was scrolling really quick with all those questions. Can you clarify your recommendation for minimum budget for Facebook ads? Are you saying $100 per day?
Yeah, so I think Abby touched on this a little bit, but no, we're not saying $100 a day. I mean, you absolutely could. Some businesses spend thousands of dollars a day. But if you are running your first ad coming out of this webinar tomorrow, which we hope you do, start with $100, do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That's where you should really be spending, not per day for 3 weeks, $100 total for 2-3 weeks.
Awesome, great clarification there. Lisa asks, click ads, if someone clicks to my site, how do I hit them again? How do I reach them if I didn't obtain an email address?
And so that is that retargeting we were talking about. Again, there's a huge, as you can see from these questions, this is the 101 and there's a 201 and there's like a AP level exam on this too. But retargeting, the basics of it is you put a piece of code on your website. It's called the Facebook pixel. And when someone gets to your website, Facebook knows you've now been there, and you can create an audience within Facebook that says, these are people who have been to my website. That's the 30,000 foot view of how retargeting works. So then you can take that audience and say, well, now I want to hit them with an ad that says, hey, we saw you just stopped by. You didn't take us up on that discount. You sure you don't want 20% off, right? And so you can actually start to layer on the complexity of your advertising. This is really good for e-commerce. If anybody's out there doing e-commerce, abandoned cart is the first place you're going to want to play. Somebody comes to your site, they put something in their cart to buy, but they don't purchase. With a Facebook pixel, you can actually build an audience to say like that, go get me that person who just didn't do that and let me hit them. You know, you probably as consumers, Amazon does that really well. You get those ads all the time. That's called retargeting.
Awesome, and I hope that sometime in the near future, Patrick and hopefully Abby again can join us and we can do a little bit more advanced topic on this or conversation to address things like that. So Renee says, I understand that it is not advisable to send prospects off Facebook to website as Facebook will not promote your ad as much. Is that true?
Not that I am aware of. Again, it gets to that black box that I told you. Is it possible that happens? It certainly is. Facebook certainly wants to keep users within its ecosystem. If you talk to someone who works at Facebook, they're often going to say lead ads are a really great tool because they want to keep you in the ecosystem. That being said, I have seen no data to support that that's the case, that they don't want to. And in fact, they make the vast majority off their money off of I don't know that to be true, but I would guess that they make the vast majority off their money off of click ads, given how many advertisers use that conversion optimization.
Awesome. So I'd like to address one more question. I see we're a little bit over time here. So Latanya asks, why is the cost per click higher for nonprofit organizations?
My guess is it's just the nature of the audience that you're looking for. You know, Latanya, I'd be happy to, again, if you want to email me, I'd be happy to talk about your specific use case here. But the more granular you get in trying to find somebody, the more expensive it gets. So if you're a nonprofit that's looking for a very specific age demographic who has an interest in this very specific type of thing, that just gets more and more expensive no matter what industry you're in. I will say this, Constant Contact works really closely with nonprofits. You're here today. I hope you're a customer. If you're not, I hope you'll become one. When we try to run ads to find other nonprofits, it is challenging. So there is something within the nonprofit space that I think Facebook's targeting is just not very good at. Like they have an interest of like philanthropy, but I'm like, am I getting like Jeff Bezos or am I getting like, actually I shouldn't say Jeff, you know, because he's not the one giving away all the money, but you know, who is in that group can be a little bit challenging. So I have seen that. That's one area where I have seen a challenge, but that's more B2B than like nonprofit looking for donors, if that's the use case you have. Either way, Latanya, I'd be happy to, you know, converse with you on your specific use case.
Awesome. Thank you for that offer. And Latanya, you can send us a message and I can connect you if you just send to webinars@constantcontact.com and I can get you connected with Patrick if you'd like to discuss that more. Now, when we close out of the webinar today, a survey is going to pop up on your screen, and please, we'd really love it if you'd take just a minute or two to answer 2 simple questions and let us know what you thought about the webinar today. We'd really love your feedback. And it looks like we're getting some great feedback in here already. So Patrick and Abby, thank you so much for being here today and sharing all of your great expertise with our audience.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. And that offer is open to anybody. If it's not me, we'll find somebody at Constant Contact to help you answer your specific questions if you have a need.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when it comes to in-product too.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for attending today. And again, please take a couple of minutes to fill out that survey and look out for the recording, usually by the end of today. So I hope you all have the great rest of your day and best of luck with creating your Facebook ads. Bye for now.